When systems run smoothly, no one asks how. When everything connects seamlessly, no one wonders why. Because a new way of running the cloud is here, where people and intelligent agents move as one. Azure Copilot agents continuously modernize your estate, anticipate risks, and optimize results, so you can keep progress in motion and innovation alive. Let Azure Copilot empower your team. So while the world keeps working, you keep saving the day.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to our session about unlocking agentic intelligence in the cloud with Copilot. My name is 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀. I lead our Azure Experiences and Ecosystems team here at Microsoft, and I'm joined today by Ruhi and Demi from our product and engineering team. They're going to help us with some demos later. So in terms of how we're going to spend our time, I'm going to spend just a few minutes providing a bit of an overview about agentic CloudOps with Azure Copilot. We're going to look behind the scenes and do a little bit of a deep dive on the architecture. We'll do some demos, and we'll close out with some information on how you can sign up. So let's go ahead and get started. I think we've all seen over the past decade, cloud adoption has skyrocketed. And with this growth has come complexity. We're seeing IT teams and developers and DevOps struggling with fragmented tools, endless dashboards, manual processes. And so this cloud complexity has really outpaced human scale. And at the same time, we're seeing this industry, our industry, shift at a rapid pace. Continuous change is now the norm. Data ubiquity is unlocking intelligence, turning telemetry into real-time feedback. Programmable infrastructure is everywhere, unlocking automation at scale. And maybe most importantly, AI agents are emerging as viable teammates, working together with humans to deliver outcomes faster. And so the industry shift is driving new ways of working. And this leads us to this frontier moment where cloud and AI are converging to redefine operations. We call this agentic CloudOps, the new operating model for the cloud, where AI agents orchestrate across IT ops, DevOps, SecOps, FinOps, data ops to allow you to create with speed and run your cloud with confidence. And this isn't just an incremental step, this is a step function leap in how we design, deploy, and manage our cloud environments, and it's what's going to take us from human scale to agent scale. And agentic CloudOps fundamentally changes the way we work. It moves us from manual processes to intelligent and automated patterns of work. Imagine migration. It used to be a one-time project, and now it's continuous modernization. Monitoring used to mean endless dashboards and reacting to alerts, and now it's observability and self-correction. And governance used to show up in audits, and now it's just part of delivery. And so agentic CloudOps is unlocking new patterns of work where humans set the intent and agents take action on their behalf. And the hero product bringing this to life is Azure Copilot, once the slide goes. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Our hero product is Azure Copilot, a new agentic interface within the Azure portal that orchestrates specialized agents across the cloud management lifecycle with the governance capabilities built in to help support complex operations at enterprise scale. We're going to do this every time, I think. We're going to try to just work with the computer. Okay. All right. Azure Copilot is built on three key pillars: experiences, a full site lifecycle of agentic capabilities, and governance. So let's dig into each of these pillars now, starting first with the experience. We built a fully immersive, personalized, and contextual experience within the Azure portal to help you work smarter, whether you're deep in code or managing operations. Azure Copilot surfaces the right agent at the right time wherever you are in the portal using our agent orchestrator. And for operations teams, our all-new Operations Center dashboard provides a unified view for you to easily navigate, troubleshoot, and deploy with ease by embedding agents directly into your workflow. So bringing it all together, Azure Copilot delivers a smarter, more intuitive way to work wherever you are, whenever you need it. And powering this experience is a system of specialized agents working together to make your workflows faster, smarter, and more intuitive. So let's move now to our second pillar and talk about those agentic capabilities. Azure Copilot introduces a full lifecycle of agents to work with you and on your behalf to streamline workflows and accelerate outcomes faster. And at Ignite, we are launching 6 new agents across the entire cloud management lifecycle to help you migrate and deploy, operate and optimize, and sustain and scale. So let's quickly go through each, starting first with migration. Migration helps accelerate migration and modernization through AI-driven discovery, smart recommendations, and GitHub Copilot integration for .NET and Java apps. Our deployment agent helps streamline infrastructure planning and deployment using Azure's well-architected framework best practices. Optimization highlights cost savings and sustainability action, compares financial and carbon impact, and guides execution through agentic workflows. Observability uses metrics, traces, and logs to help you investigate full-stack issues across apps and infrastructure and provide recommended fixes. Resiliency suggests zonal resiliency and provides guidance, does auto remediation, RPO and RTO orchestration, as well as ransomware protection, plus Copilot-driven summaries. And lastly, troubleshooting pinpoints root causes across all your Azure services like Kubernetes, databases, VMs, and more. Helps suggest fixes, and when escalation is required, it'll auto-create a support ticket as well. So as you can see, Azure Copilot orchestrates these agents and completely changes the way we're working, going from those manual workflows to intelligent and automated patterns of work where humans set the intent and agents take action on their behalf. And so as these agents are modernizing legacy applications and streamlining operation, one thing becomes very critical. They must do so consistently, securely, and in compliance. Which brings us to our third pillar of governance. Azure Copilot ensures every action, whether taken by a human or an agent, aligns with your company's policies and standards. Azure Copilot provides a unified framework for compliance, auditing, and policy enforcement that respects RBAC rules and with Azure policy integration. And with Bring Your Own Storage, you have complete control over your chat and your artifact data. So that's pillar 3, governance, built-in compliance across every action, agent, and workload, and complete control over your data. So bringing it all together, that's Azure Copilot, an agentic interface that orchestrates specialized agents across the entire cloud management lifecycle with the governance capabilities built in to support complex operations at enterprise scale. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ruhi to bring it to life and show us some demos.
I'm going to try my luck. I'm Ruhi, VP of Engineering for Azure Experiences and Ecosystem team. We've been listening to your feedback, and today I'm very proud to come and share the work of the team to bring the agentic capabilities to Azure Copilot. Over the next few minutes, I'll show some of these live in action, so we'll do a lot of demos today, and also talk about how did we build all of this. So we'll go into the architecture and details over here as well. As Annie was just talking about the 3 pillars of Azure Copilot, experiences, the full lifecycle of agents, as well as governance. So for the demo, why don't we go into the experiences and the governance capabilities, and let me show those to you. Okay. So over here, I am in Azure Portal in the Cloud Admin Center. Over here, I can go to the Access Management tab. And as simple as that, I can go ahead and enable access to the agents in preview. I can go to Conversation Storage, And here, I can accept the default storage or bring my own storage. On the right side, you will see the familiar Copilot chat pane. But this is where we have introduced this new grounding menu or the context IQ, which helps you bring specificity to your prompts. So you can go with resources, subscriptions. You don't have to go across the portal blades, copy the subscription, copy the ID, bring it back to your prompt. Right here from this menu or with a quick slash, you can select the resources and subscriptions you need. As you can see, I'll browse through some of these quickly for you to view. Over here at the bottom, you can also enable the new agent mode we were talking about. Now let's go to my favorite view, which is the full screen immersive view. We'll come back to it, but let's go ahead and first start some conversations with the Copilot and the agent. For the first one, let's see if it can generate a script for me. So I'm going to give it generate a bicep script configuration to deploy an Azure OpenAI service. And to my subscription, I'll use the context menu and pick the subscription right there. That's submitted, and the agent's busy at work for us. Let's start another one. And for this one, let's summarize my cost for this month and last month. And I will pick 2 subscriptions. I also want to break down by services and a forecast of my cost for next month. So let's see what kind of interesting data the agent will come back with. And while we are at it, why don't we submit a third one? Let's do that. And for this one, I want some interesting service analytics. So let's fetch usage metrics over the past month for my container app. I'll pick my chatbot. And I also want to see, is it healthy and right size? So with that, I've submitted 3 different prompts, and the Copilot and agents are busy at work on my behalf. Let's go to the full screen view. And over here, as you can see on the screen, on the left side is where I can see all the conversations I've been having with the Copilot. Full transparency of all the conversation and all the actions. And we'll look a little bit more in details as well. So let me go and select the first one, which we have submitted. This is a bicep configuration. So it looks like it has some configuration generated for me, and I can add more parameters or update as needed. I can filter through these and scale as well. Let's go back to the one where we submitted the usage metrics. Over here, what I want to really show is on the screen where you see the activities, this is the chain of thought, the reasoning that the agent's been going through. All the steps that the agent is taking on your behalf, very transparently shown in front of you that you can track, review, monitor as well. And then down below here are the artifacts that are generated when I asked it for usage metrics. I see CPU usage. I can go and look through more details. I have memory usage. I have total replica count. Honestly, a lot of these things that would have taken me hours, if not longer, to go figure out on my own. I can now look through these. Copilot Experiences supports graphs, charts, JSON. All of these formats are supported when the artifacts here. And for completeness, let's go back and look at the third prompt we had submitted on cost summarization as well. So I'll go back to the conversation history mode from the navigation. And right here, summarize my cost. There, I can see the cost by subscriptions, breakdown by services right here. So to summarize, those were some of the new experiences in Azure Copilot, starting with the settings to govern access control, going into full screen immersive mode, being able to have multiple conversations with agents, full conversation history, where you can track the activities, the artifacts, all of these, as well as the ability to bring your own storage. So these are, and yes, I forgot, the grounding menu or the context IQ. These are just some of the new experiences that are making it simpler and more intuitive for you to work with the Azure Copilot and the agents. Well, this is always exciting, and I can keep demoing. Why don't we switch and maybe talk about how did we enable this from the architecture standpoint? And I'm going to see if the clicker works for me. My luck's better. OK. First off, the first layer is the experiences layer. This is the layer we were just showing in the demo as well. So you can start in the chat mode, the known chat mode, or the new agent mode. It's fully immersive, personalized, contextual. It's not just in the Copilot plane. Across the Azure portal, you will see the nudges. It's in your flow. It's where you are working. Behind this experience layer sits the orchestrator. Yes. This orchestrator is built on top of Azure OpenAI LLM models. This is where it interprets the prompt or the job to be done. It brings in additional deep semantic context as needed. And then this layer helps you decide which agent or which tools are needed for the job. This is where the orchestrator and the AI is working on your behalf. So the complexity of choosing is not something that you need to be worried about. You give the prompts, and the agent and the orchestrator will get to work. These agents and tools work on a source of knowledge sources. These are ARM control plane data, Microsoft Learn documentation, support documentation, log analytics data, telemetry, metrics, all of these information and sources of data, which make sure that the responses from the orchestrator and the agent are grounded in the latest information from the resources and the services. And these are specific for your environment, for your resources, because it's grounded in what you have access to. And also, finally, all of the responses from the orchestrator are scrubbed for and based on Microsoft's responsible AI policies and principles as well. And finally, alongside with this sits our governance layer. This is where we ensure you have the full visibility of all the actions that the agents are taking, from the activity log to the artifacts. This is stored in Microsoft Managed Cosmos DB. By default, we store it for 21 days. But with the ability to bring your own storage, this is where you can govern the retention period as well, if that's what your compliance requirements might be. So that's at a very high level, at a layered architecture layer, how the Azure Copilot works. But let's take a look deeper into how the agent mode works. So over here, if we look through in the diagram on the agent mode, this uses the reasoning models from Azure OpenAI. The deep reasoning is what enables the orchestrator to go beyond pattern matching. That's good enough for the chat mode. But in the agent mode, where there are specific jobs to be done, which are multi-step, structured, going from discovery to planning to logic, this is where we need the deep reasoning models that the orchestrator leverages. As we go into the agent mode, it's truly a leap forward for the orchestrator, where it's able to have sub-orchestration conversations with the agent. What does that mean? If you remember, just a couple minutes ago, the demo I was showing where we had 3 parallel conversations going on, those were 3 different conversations, agents working on your behalf in parallel. And this is how, in the agentic mode, we're able to do that in parallel at scale. And all of these agents can call other agents too, or tools, because these agents are very specific, purpose-built. And these tools are things like generating a CLI script or a bicep script that we saw, or querying KQL. And these are all based on the things I mentioned before. Finally, while this is all great and we see how it works, I'm sure, and we've seen many customers ask us this question, but how about the data flow? What's the access control? What's the policies around here? Yes, and as Annie was mentioning, governance is pretty critical and important for us. So let's take a deeper look into that as well. As a user, when you start a job or you're interacting with the Copilot, your user identity, the identity that you use to connect to the portal, to connect to the Copilot, is leveraged by the orchestrator. Using the deep reasoning models, it goes through the phases of reasoning, agent tool calling, as well as response processing. All of this is under your user identity. At any given point, when we need to bring in more specificity, more context to make sure the right job gets done on your behalf, the orchestrator will use the same user identity to access whether it's ARM control plane data or other service assets. When the orchestrator needs one or more agents to be called, it will use the same user identity to call those agents. So as you can see, all of this is using your identity, your permissions. At no given point, the agent or the orchestrator have privileges more than what you have. Also, an important step and a critical one is anytime the agents need to make an update to the data, the Copilot will pause, will ask for your approval before proceeding. So you are always in control and you can approve all the changes. The agent-to-agent communication is also conversational, and this is what we store as activities in the conversation store that I was mentioning, along with all the artifacts that the agents are generating as well. And maybe one final thing I'll mention is these agents are purpose-built, like migration, deployment, troubleshooting. They are specialized to get the job done, while the orchestrator and the Copilot can help you with any Azure-specific jobs as well, and then it will orchestrate to other agents as needed. I hope that gives a high-level understanding of how Copilot works, how data access, how permissions, how all of this is working on your behalf to make it simpler, intuitive, enabling it in the workflow that you are in without giving it any additional access or permissions. It's still in the bounds of everything that you have. Why don't we get into something more exciting, which is showing our agents live in demo. I would love to show you the deployment agent and the troubleshooting agent working together in the first demo here. So let's move to the demo mode. OK, so I'm back in Azure Portal in Copilot. And let me step into a DevOps engineer role. And as I submit, many of you probably have same challenges as I do, which is if I'm trying to deploy a new service, there are a lot of things I want to consider. Is it using the best practices? Is it grounded with security, resiliency, all of these things considered? And it can take a lot of time. How about I ask the Copilot and the deployment agent to help me with this task? So for this, as you see on the screen, I have create a secure production-ready analytics environment that can collect large amounts of data, process it, and make it available for business reporting. So now I've submitted this, and the Copilot and the agent will get to work. This is where we should also see the chain of thought activity that the agent will go through over here momentarily. And again, it's a very generic prompt, but the Copilot knows my environment and will give me specific recommendations based on that. As you can see, it's working through. And I have a deployment plan in front of me. Let's open in full screen. And here, I can see that this deployment plan is grounded in Azure's well-architected framework. It's secure by default when we look at network endpoint, network security, groups, recommendations. Built for production readiness with observability, resiliency, all considered and built in. I can also go and look through all the resources that this deployment plan will need to go create on my behalf. And I can scan through, review all of these resources. I can look at any one of these. And you would see that for each of these resources, the agent is not only recommending one, it's telling me the alternatives it had considered, the trade-offs for all of those as well, the region, all of the details that honestly would have taken me maybe a few days to get it all right. If at any point I want to make a change, like I don't see a multi-region DR plan, I can go back to the left side and ask the Copilot to make the change. For now, let's say I approve all of these and it's ready for my production deployment. I can go ahead and approve the plan. When I do this, the Copilot agent is now generating production-ready Terraform code for me to review and apply as needed. So over here, I can see the code that was generated to get this deployment plan in action. Well, I'm no Terraform expert, so let me push it through my standard CI/CD pipeline. And I can do that right here in the experience with a single click. So let me go ahead and sign in into GitHub. I will connect to my repo. And I can go ahead and create this pull request. And it will go through the standard validation checks. I can go in Terraform and review the code as well. So just with that, I was able to go from being very generic in terms of the service requirements, but the deployment agent helped me ground it with all the best practices and generated this deployment plan for me and made it ready for production-ready deployment as well. Now that this is ready, and I can be confident in the deployment of this service. Let's go look at troubleshooting. So that my service now has been running. It's been healthy for a while, but we all know that drifts happen, changes happen. So with that, lately, my data jobs have started failing. For this, I do need to go connect to the virtual machine and see what's going on. So let me go back to the VM view in Azure portal. And I am having some issues connecting to this virtual machine. So instead of me trying to debug and diagnose what's going on, let's ask the Copilot. And I can provide the prompt. I cannot connect to my virtual machine. Help me troubleshoot. Again, it has the context of everything. We can see the chain of thought. And here, I can see the Copilot was able to run through anomaly detection, configuration changes, IP address changes, and also has a quick resolution or a diagnostic on what might be wrong with my VM. And seems like I have a configuration issue. What I love about this is not only that it helped me diagnose the issue, I have a CLI script that it generated for me that I can review. And if I can apply, it should go and fix the VM as well. So let's try and do that. I can go ahead and open Cloud Shell from the experience right here. Copy the CLI script and paste it in my Cloud Shell prompt here. And now it should succeed, and hopefully with this, we should be able to connect back to the VM. So with that, just within minutes, I was able to not just diagnose, but fix the issue too. And finally, if I'm not able to resolve it, I can go ahead and ask the agent to create a support ticket. Right here, I can see this in full screen as well. So with this, the agent will go ahead and create a support ticket with all the diagnostic information that it already has, and this will make it for a simpler and easier resolution. So those were just two agents working together. Deployment agent, helping you get your new workloads live, helping you with the trade-offs, understanding the defaults, the best practices, not just that, giving you the alternatives, as well as a production-ready code needed as needed. But we all know that when real production happens, there'll be issues. Things will fail. And this is where the need for the troubleshooting agent came, because when we are in those moments, and I've been in those live site calls, those are stressful. So the troubleshooting agent is really there to help it make it easier for you to diagnose. Where possible, point you to the root causes. If we can give automated recommendations, those will all be at your fingertips to make it easier for you to manage your environment. I do want to demo one more agent that I really, really love. If you remember, when I started talking about the deployment agent, I was talking about we want to make sure that they start with secure by default, resilient by default. It's very important to do that. But we also want to make sure that it continues to stay resilient over a period of time. When security patches are applied or configuration changes are applied, there can be drifts in configuration. So I want to make sure I don't just start resilient, I stay resilient. And for this, let me go ahead and do a very quick demo of our resiliency agent in action. Back to our Azure Copilot view. Over here, for a quick sneak peek, let me give a simple prompt that you see on the top side, which is list all resources that are not zonally resilient. When I submit this prompt to Copilot, let me go ahead and do that. What it's doing is it's going through all the subscriptions that I have access or permissions for, and it's already listing me the resources that are not zonally resilient. Now, virtual machine storage accounts that I didn't think were zonally resilient are listed here. Now, this is great information. I can see the resource, the ID, the region. Now, I can go ahead and manually either fix this, or I can go ahead and ask the Copilot itself to help resolve. And you will see these nudges in the experience too. So over here, I'm asking the resiliency agent if it can help me fix this specific non-zonal resource. And on the right side, you would see that I have a fix in terms of the SKU updates, as well as the configuration that I can apply and make it zonally resilient. What I truly love about this is it's not just doing the configuration updates for me, it's giving me the risk and cost analysis Yes, there are changes here, right? A validation checklist, a rollback strategy, everything that I want to make sure I do right and be confident in the services and the maintenance of those. With that, now that we have been running and operating the service, I also have Demi here, who's been role-playing the IT admin for our organization, and she wants to make sure that I'm doing this all within budget as well. So let me invite Demi over to walk us through some of that.
Thanks, Ruhi. Hi, everyone. My name is Demi Ajayi, and I'm the Senior Product Manager for Azure Copilot. Just give me 1 second. All right, so as Ruhi mentioned, I'll be demoing our final agent for today, which is our optimization agent. This agent will help you save money as you run your workloads. So I'll head over to Operations Center in the Optimization tab here, and you'll see here that there's some top actions for us. So top actions are dynamic recommendations that are made for you based on your specific environment context. Here we see 3 recommendations. The first is resizing a VM. The second is reducing the number of instance counts. And the third one is deleting a VM. All of these recommendations are designed to save you money. And they'll also save you time because they're generated for you, saving hours and even up to days of manual effort. So with these recommendations, you might have some additional questions before actually implementing them. So you can ask Copilot about that. Let's take the first example here, which is resizing a VM. So we can just click Optimize with Copilot with this nudge here and start a chat with Copilot. So we'll soon see that Copilot opens up a chat where it takes the prompt from the top action there, takes that context, automatically generates a prompt that then goes into chat, and you'll see that it's also opening up in agent mode. Then Copilot takes this prompt and then is able to route to the right agent, as Ruhi talked about earlier on. In this case, it's going to be the optimization agent. So we'll see, I'll just head over into full screen mode so we get a better view of what's going on here. So as it's thinking here, it calls the optimization agent, and we see that reasoning begins. It's able to take your environment context to pull in the needed resource ID to make its analysis. We see here that it's also generated some artifacts to be used as part of the recommendation explanation it's about to give us. So let's see what it comes up with. It's thinking a little. So we'll be showing here the summary of the reason why this recommendation was chosen. If you look closely, you can see that it's identified that our current VM is over-provisioned based on its usage in the last 7 days. And it's recommending resizing to a new VM that's smaller, which will help us maintain performance while reducing both cost and carbon footprint. It also provides a little bit more information here as to comparing our current SKU and the recommended SKU. So we see here there's specific properties of our current SKU, which we can compare to the recommended SKU. Additionally, it provides some artifacts, and this is my favorite part here because I think a picture tells 1,000 words. Here it shows us a view of our current utilization versus the recommended utilization. We see here that with our current VM, we are definitely vastly underutilized, and with the recommended VM, we are more rightly sized. So with this, you might have confidence to move forward. But you can also ask Copilot more questions, and you can see that there are also some suggested prompts below here for you to utilize. So let's assume that everything looks good to us and we're ready to move forward. We can then decide to implement this as part of our CI/CD pipeline. So to do so, we can ask Copilot to generate a CLI script for us, a Terraform files, or a bicep template. So we'll go forward and ask for generate a CLI script. So I'll put that into chat here. So again, Copilot goes forward once I put this into the prompt and calls the appropriate agent, which in this case, once again, will be the optimization agent. And with that, it's able to generate a CLI script for us using the parameters that are relevant to our context. So we'll see here that it's thinking and coming up with the specific parameters that are required and generating a final CLI script for us to implement. So with that, we have the CLI script that we can implement as part of our CI/CD pipeline with the appropriate resource group, resource name, the new size of the VM that we're looking to implement. And with that, By putting this into our specific environment, we can now start reaping the benefits of the cost savings here. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ruhi to close us out.
Thank you, Ruhi. So that brings us to a wrap of all the demos we had on the agents today. But this is the agents that really help you throughout the cloud lifecycle management, starting from day zero, whether it's migration or deployment, to day end of optimization, observability, resiliency, troubleshooting. These agents are truly designed to work in a connected fashion to help you with your services infrastructure management. Instead of dealing with a tool of disconnected tools, these agents work on your behalf with your permissions, with your credentials. If this is exciting, you're probably thinking, how do we get access to these agents? Let me share that. Yes, it's fairly simple. The tenant admin or the global tenant admin for your tenant can go ahead and request access in the Copilot settings pane that we just saw, and they can request access over here. Once approved, then the users in that subscription will start seeing the agent mode that we were showing throughout the demo, enabled for them, and you can start using the agents and giving it the task to be done. Also, if you're interested in participating more in our customer feedback program to help us on this journey and redefining cloud agentic operations, please sign up for the customer program as well using the AKMS link over here. That brings us to the wrap of the session, but there are more sessions on Azure Copilot, agents across, so please do attend some of those if you're interested. We also have our expert booth. Many of us, including us and other product team members, will be at the booth. We would love to hear from you. Please stop by, ask questions, share your scenarios, give your feedback. We'd love to hear that. We also have our blog, which I believe went live just this morning, as well as updates to documentation going live. So do check those out as well. So with that, we will wrap up this session, but some of us will be here as well to answer any questions. Thank you so much, and thank you to Annie and Demi as well, my co-presenters.